What's up, guys? Fuad here, back with another video. Today we're gonna have a bit of a discussion video, but as you can see, I'm also joined by the one, the only, the man himself, Marshall Turner from the Combat Hour. Marshall, it's been a hot second since we've done a video. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. We got a good one for everybody today, so I hope you guys enjoy what we're about to talk about.
For sure, it's definitely a very interesting topic. Jon Jones once again in the headlines, but this time we're gonna do a bit of a comparison video as well. The reason he's in the headlines once again is because of pay. Now, madness has gone on for the last couple of days. We've seen it all unfold on Twitter, but if you don't know, Marshall here is just gonna give you the details of what's gone off. What is the drama? What's going on right now?
Okay, Jon Jones was looking to move up to the heavyweight division to take on the scariest man in the division right now, Francis Ngannou. He said, okay, I'm good to move up, but you guys got to pay me accordingly. The rumor is he asked Dana for 20 to 30 million. We don't know. We don't have real numbers, but Dana said a Deontay Wilder-like payday. But we don't have an actual figure. The biggest payday that Jon Jones has received in his 22-fight career in the UFC is $580,000. So to go from that to 20 million seems a little bit steep, but I think he's worth it.
I think he has a fair argument as well. I mean, the UFC is a successful model. It's a successful business, but do they have the money in the pockets to do what they can, such as the Fight Island, such as bringing their fights back as soon as they can, because they don't pay their fighters accordingly? Like, these guys go through hell and back. They are competing, by the way, in the creme de la creme of MMA, of mixed martial arts. They're competing at the highest level, the best organization in a lot of people's opinion. Surely the money's meant to be there with it, right?
Definitely. Like, if it's Jon Jones has been in the UFC for 22 fights. If you do the math, you take his total earnings, which is a little over 7.2 mil. He's earning about 330 million a fight. Sorry, 330,000 a fight. That's unacceptable. That's just blatantly unacceptable.
Yeah, and if you compare it to boxing, you can kind of understand why a lot of MMA fighters want to dabble into boxing a little bit because of the earnings in boxing. Now, one of the biggest examples is actually with one of the guys that wants to cross over. Francis Ngannou wanted to fight Dillian Whyte, and actually he's in this conversation also. Why would he want to go over to the boxing world when he has minimum experience in the ring and he has all the experience in the cage, and he knows Dillian is happy to come to the cage? He's got all the advantage in the cage. Why would he want to go to the boxing ring? Just because he can knock people out doesn't give it a valid reason, right? It's got to be because of the money.
The money's a huge factor. That's it. But if he goes over to the ring and he beats Dillian Whyte, he'll get a title shot. So he also knows that as well in boxing. But you got to look at the landscape of the UFC heavyweight division. You got Daniel Cormier and Stipe, who are supposed to fight in the trilogy fight, and that fight's not even, a date hasn't even been set yet. So there's the rumor that Stipe might even get stripped because he's kind of holding up the division. Ngannou deserves a title shot sooner than later. The man is on a mission. He's beaten everybody since his back-to-back losses to Derek Lewis and Stipe for the title shot. So that's also part of the factor. He knows there's nothing for him in the UFC right now. He's going to wait until he fights for the title. Why not go dip your toe in boxing, make a couple million, see what happens?
Do you think that's the reason Dana White called off the press conference between Dillian and Ngannou? It was meant to happen. He was meant to have a press conference, and Dana kind of said no, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think, well, he doesn't want it to gain traction. We saw with the Conor McGregor fight with Floyd Mayweather, forever Dana was saying, no, it's not going to happen. He was against it. And then the masses, the public, just demanded it. So Dana had to get behind it. This is one of those situations where it makes sense. Dillian Whyte's not going to get a title shot anytime soon in boxing. Francis Ngannou's not going to get a title shot anytime soon in MMA. It's something fun for them both. They're both going to make money. So this fight makes sense. And Dana sees that. And he doesn't want it to gain traction, because if Francis goes over, dips his toe in boxing, and he's successful, hypothetically, not saying he would be, but if he is, he's not coming back.
Yeah. because he can make more money off smaller fights in boxing than, or he can make the same amount in smaller fights in boxing where he can knock people out than he would in the UFC. Now we're kind of going off topic, but let's stick with the John Jones situation and the pay. What is John Jones right to let go of his title and say, no, I've had enough? Is that a good thing? In my opinion, it is. He's standing his ground. What do you think?
Absolutely. Who else does he need to beat? He killed the whole division. 205 pounds is dead.
Yeah.
There's nobody there for him to fight. People are going to come back and be like, oh, he didn't beat Dominic Reyes. Oh, Jan Blachowicz is coming up. Cool. I don't care. Whether you think he beat Reyes or not, he has a win over him. He's beat everybody that they put in front of him. There's nothing left for him to do in the sport at his weight class except for move up, which he wanted to do. And if they're not going to do it accordingly, they're not going to pay the man what he's worth. He finally, at 32 years of age, decided to step up and just be like, I need this number, or we can't have it. I just can't be here anymore. Go somewhere that will facilitate that will bring the bank account, open up the Brinks truck.
For sure. I think he has every right to walk away. He said himself he doesn't have any competition left in the light heavyweight division, and if he were to move up and take on Ngannou, who wrecks people's careers as we've seen, he definitely deserves some sort of payday to make it, at least some sort of million. Like, even if he did ask for an absurd number, you have to understand why. Like, bro, John Jones is arguably the number one MMA fighter right now, and he will go down as one of the greatest to put on a pair of MMA gloves and go into the octagon. He will go down. He's got that secured. How he made that much money in his biggest fights is completely mind-blowing. You think about the big fights in boxing, the Fury Wilders, the Joshua Furies. That hasn't happened yet, but if it did, we know the numbers. But those are should be in the same conversation for MMA people when you're talking about DC against John Jones. Those are mega fights, and he didn't even make a meal.
Yeah, not once. He hasn't made a mill once. The highest he's ever been paid. Sorry, this is all before a single pay-per-view is bought, so this is guaranteed money. The most he's made up front for a single fight in the UFC is $580 million. That's an absolute disgrace.
Thousand. Oh, shut up. You said 580 million. If he made 580 million, bro, boxing, MMA is a place to be. Man said 580 million.
Yeah, no. Take a zero off of that.
So, last topic then. Let's dissect this. Where do we go from here? I mean, we're fans, so we can't really, do anything about it apart from petition. But the organization is, I'd say, successful because, like I started this video off, because of the reason that they don't pay their fighters well. They are a big billion-dollar company because they don't pay their fighters well. And they can do all this hoo-ha island nonsense because they don't pay their fighters well. What needs to happen? Do you think? I think in my opinion, John Jones taking a stand is maybe a first step towards that. But what else could fighters do, or could pundits do to fix this situation? Because MMA is huge now. It's not even like in 2010, like when it was huge. But right now, you've got worldwide superstars.
Yeah. So there is a MMA union for fighters. Unfortunately, there's not many big names in it. And I don't believe there are any fighters in the union that are in the UFC currently. Because you join that, you kind of put yourself on an island, you blackball yourself. And Dana's not going to have it. He's not going to support that. Because it's not within his business model. It just doesn't make sense for him business-wise. So what we have here, with John Jones being on the outside, looking in, wanting the payday, this is an opportunity for him to unionize with these fighters. There's some big names in there. John Fitch is in there as well. He was a former PFL champion. He fought GSP for the title back in the day. There's some names in there. If John Jones joins the fight and unionizes, we could see a big power shift from Dana and the organization to the fighters, because the whole model is different from boxing. The fighters in boxing, they get the big amount of the money, whereas in MMA it's vice versa. The organization takes the lion's share of the money.
But that's exactly, when we're talking about that, that's exactly the similar situation to say as promoters take a big cut of fighters. Of course they do. So it's similar in that sense. But in an organization which is so huge, I can't get my head around how fighters aren't paid. Maybe there's something that I'm not looking at or we're not looking at. But definitely there is that solid argument which we are holding that fighters do deserve to get paid a lot more. You know, they're putting their freaking lives on the line here, man. And like in boxing, I'm not trying to compare the sports, but MMA is brutal. It's not about just head injuries. These guys, their knees are snapping, their feet are snapping. You've seen some of the horrific injuries, so I think, you know, we both agree on that they deserve to get paid more. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. You know, of this whole situation, boxing versus MMA, how, you know, the pay structure works. Do you agree with it? Do you not? What could they do different? What is your opinion? We want to hear it, so make sure to comment down below. Any final words on this situation, Marshall?
Pay the man. Pay the man.
That's a perfect way to finish it. 3 words, pay the man. That's all you got to see from us. Guys, make sure to catch us on the next one, and we catch you guys soon.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.